Apichatpong Uncle Bunmi Who Can Recall His Past Lives and Tropical Malady are two of the most poetic, expressive, and expansive films of the 21st century. Both films challenge the pacing and narrative conventions of mainstream Western and Hollywood cinema, embracing a meditative, ambiguous, and non-linear approach to filmmaking. Tropical Malady starts off following the forming relationship between a soldier stationed temporarily in a small town, Kang, and a young man from the town, Tong. Tong is much more shy and seems more inexperienced in love, while Kang seems more confident in his sexuality. After about an hour of runtime, Kang has to leave the town, and it feels as though the film is coming to an end. The second half of the film turns itself on its head and plunges into the mythical and dreamlike feeling of the jungle. Benluplam Nai, who plays Kang in the first half and the soldier in the second half, is sent into the jungle to try to catch the shape-shifting shaman who has been transforming into a tiger spirit and killing the cows of the village. The shaman is played by Sukta Kebusai, who plays Tong in the first half. The film further develops into a spiritual journey as the soldier encounters talking animals, animal ghosts, and climaxes with the confrontation with the tiger spirit. Uncle Bunmi Who Can Recall His Past Lives follows the main character, Uncle Bunmi, as he reaches the end of his life. He is visited by the ghost of his deceased wife, as well as his long-lost son, Boonsong, who transmuted into a monkey spirit. These visits feel calm and familiar, almost as if in a dream. The narrative interweaves with the dreamlike sequences, which we can view as Uncle Bunmi recalling his past lives. He looks off into the distance, and we are transported into a world of a princess who is comforted through oral sex with a fish. He also has dreams of a future life filled with militarism and violence. The film itself opens on an ox that escapes from a farmer. The film never explicitly states whether Uncle Bunmi is the ox, the fish, or the princess, but as he journeys into the jungle for a final place to rest, Bunmi recalls his reincarnations, merging memory, folklore, and spiritual belief into one fluid tale. In Tropical Malady and Uncle Bunmi Who Can Recall His Past Lives, Apichatpong uses the jungle not only as a setting, but as a symbolic backdrop that reflects and blurs the lines between the film's central themes. In this video essay, we will explore these films in 4 parts. Part 1, Rural and Urban. Part 2, History and Myth. Part 3, Animal and Human. And Part 4, Love, Danger, and Identity. In both Tropical Malady and Uncle Bunmi Who Can Recall His Past Lives, Apichatpong draws a contrast between urban and rural environments. In Tropical Malady, the city feels structured and restrained. Kang courts Tong in a structured and traditional fashion as they spend time together. The film starts to shift towards the end of an almost fairy tale afternoon Tong and Kang spend together. They finally express their physical desire for each other by kissing, licking, gnawing, and almost eating each other's fists. As Kang rides home, it feels magical, with colors and music filling the space. However, we catch a fleeting glimpse of the beasts inside us, as you can briefly catch a group of teenagers kicking a person on the ground in the background. It is when the film shifts to the jungle that restraint dissolves, words fall away, and the story fragments. The jungle offers a place for transformation, for instinct, and for a more primal state of being. In Uncle Bunmi, we are surrounded by the jungle from the start, and ghosts and spirits freely visit Uncle Bunmi's house. The jungle offers a place of spiritualism and comfort from the start, a simple way of living, and it only grows as Uncle Bunmi travels deeper into the jungle as he dies. The divide between rural and urban is only made clear towards the end of the film when the family goes to the city for Uncle Bunmi's funeral. Uncle Bunmi's nephew Tong, upon leaving the rural setting, struggles to rest because he doesn't have his radio, and complains of a lack of internet connection. This highlights the disconnection from the rural world he came from. Now in the city, he can't seem to find rest without the external noise of a radio, replacing the simplicity of life in a rural setting where lack of internet was hardly a problem. This tension is made most explicit in the film's final scene, which takes place in a sterile urban hotel room. We see characters disconnecting from themselves and splitting, physically and spiritually. Spirits aren't as communicative and connected as they were in the jungle. They don't come and go freely, but are disconnected and distracted as a version of themselves stare at a television. This is just one of the many readings of the ambiguous ending of Uncle Bunmi Who Can Recall His Past Lives. In both Uncle Bunmi and Tropical Malady, the rural and urban settings reflect the inner conflict between modernity and nature. The city represents structure and detachment, while the jungle offers a place for connection, transformation, and spiritual depth. The jungle in both Tropical Malady and Uncle Bunmi Who Can Recall His Past Lives is not only a physical space, but also a vessel for history and myth. In these films, the jungle serves as a place where history and regional folklore blend, illustrating how the past haunts but also shapes the present. In Tropical Malady, the jungle becomes a liminal space, where Kang and Tong's love story becomes timeless. It is not explicit whether these characters are really Kang or Tong in the jungle. It doesn't feel like it takes place after the first part of the story. The second part takes directly from Thai and Southeast Asian folklore, echoing traditional ghost stories and legends passed down through generations. Tash Ah states in the Paris Review how the jungle scenes unfold like a folktale, emphasizing the film's departure from conventional storytelling and its embrace of a more spiritual, allegorical form. In Uncle Boonmi, the jungle takes on even more of an explicit role in the place of memory, history, and myth. Boonmi's recollection of past lives and his encounters with spirits speak to the presence of history. The jungle, full of spirits, becomes a place where past lives resurface, and dreams of the future echo past conflicts. It reflects the long-standing history of conflict in Isan, the northeastern region of Thailand. Isan was a key battleground in Thailand's fight against the communist insurgency led by the Communist Party of Thailand. Uncle Boonmi reflects on his past killing communists and believes it to be a karmic cause for his current illness. He also dreams of a future, also full of conflict, a land that remains controlled by the soldiers and government. These historical layers contribute to the film's exploration of memory and myth. The jungle becomes a space where the past is not forgotten, but is held and shapes the present. From the first frame, both Uncle Boonmi, who can recall his past lives, and Tropical Malady open with the title cards blurring the line between humans and animals. These words set the tone for both films, and how Apichatpong navigates identity, transformation, and our place within the natural world. In both films, the jungle becomes the space where this human-animal relationship is explored most deeply. In Tropical Malady, this takes place in the form of a hunt between the tiger shaman and the soldier. The first half of this film features a quiet romance between Kang and Tong, shown through quiet moments of flirting, shared silences, and moments of laughter. But beneath this lies unspoken tension, desire, vulnerability, and the fear of not being understood. Through a queer theoretical lens, Tropical Malady resists conventional narratives of queer tragedy or repression. This aligns closely with Jose Esteban Muñoz's idea of queer utopia, where he argues that queerness exists in a horizon of possibility and as a way of imagining different ways of being. If we are all by nature wild beasts, and Tong, or the tiger shaman, is resisting being captured by Kang, or the soldier, the hunt becomes a metaphor for romantic pursuit, and the animalistic instincts within us and their queerness is represented as something natural and unbound. In Uncle Boonmi, the lines between animal and human are even further blurred. Uncle Boonmi never states that he had past lives as an animal, but it can be inferred within the film's context. The film references many possibilities of his past lives as animals, such as an ox and perhaps a fish. Apichatpong also compares the karmic consequences of killing something as small as bugs on his farm to the moral burden of killing communists in a war. Uncle Boonmi's son, Boonsong, who disappeared years ago, returns not as himself, but as a monkey-like spirit with glowing red eyes, by mating with another monkey spirit, which caused his transformation. These transformations are not shocking in the world of the film. They are accepted as a natural part of life. Uncle Boonmi is quick to accept the fact that this happened to his son. Within the jungle, the line between natural and supernatural are blurred. Reincarnation and hybridity are simply woven into the jungle. Whether it is a soldier hunting a tiger who might be his lover, or a dying man remembering his life as an ox, the jungle in these films asks us to see animals not as separate from humans, but as parts of ourselves. In an interview with Bomb magazine, Apichatpong Rosutokol explains, "I think animals in my films are reminders of our past and our animal instincts." This reflection helps make sense of the transformations, the reincarnations, and the casual appearances of beasts and spirits. The jungle brings people and animals together, leveling the field and connecting us back to our true selves, animals. In both Tropical Malady and Uncle Boonmi Who Can Recall His Past Lives, the jungle becomes a metaphor for love's dual nature, as a place of tenderness and beauty, but also holds the fears and dangers of love. In Tropical Malady, the quiet courtship between Kang and Tong collapses into a pursuit through the jungle, where love can transform into something violent, vulnerable, and scary. In the last scene, where the soldier finally confronts the tiger watches from above, looming and striking fear into the soldier. But with the soldier's acceptance of vulnerability, a beautiful moment is created. The jungle amplifies this moment with all of its dark, dense mystery. Love is a dangerous thing, and we must risk ourselves for it. In Uncle Boonmi, love breaks through all bounds. Love transforms physical boundaries in the shape of Uncle Boonmi's wife, making her way back as a ghost to confront her dying husband. He is scared to lose her, but she reminds him that ghosts are attached to people, not places. The jungle and Uncle Boonmi allow these supernatural moments to occur, where love crosses time, species, and form. In Tropical Malady, an Uncle Boonmi who can recall his past lives, Apichatpong uses the jungle not just as a setting, but as a backdrop for the emotional, spiritual, and cultural depth of his films. It is a landscape where distinctions between human and animal, history and myth, and love and danger blur. By seeing both films through the jungle's eyes, we see how Apichatpong is inviting us to live in the realm of not knowing, where lines are blurred and everything lives on a circular spectrum.